my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. We have in the studio today, we have JR, yay! And we have a special guest, El Cid, yay! How are you guys doing? Yay! How are you guys doing today?
All good, thank you.
Good.
Everything's all gravy.
All great. All gravy, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's a word in the context of what's going on in the news in the U.S. You want to be using, JR, gravy, okay? But doing well today. Doing well today.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Let me turn this down. It is so. And what about the weather, guys? Drop it in the chat, guys, where you're viewing us from and what the weather is like where you are. JR, what's the weather doing where you are?
Man, it was warm today. Got very cold, like after the sun went down. But we have a heat wave on the horizon. So at some point in like Wednesday onwards, man, we're gonna get some nice Mediterranean style heat. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but we just gotta enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, hey, that's what I say. That's what I say. Because today it's so beautiful, sunny and beautiful, just perfect. No cold Canadian winds blowing in, just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Oh, okay, El Cid. Yeah. All right, in the South. Yes. So let's get started. Guys, what did you make of this episode? What did you make of this what was going on? Is it about a lot of lies and secrets and deceit? Do we have any villains? And if so, who are they?
Go on, Elsie.
Go ahead, JR.
No, you go. Ladies first.
I don't know if there are any villains, but it's a whole lot of attitude and a whole lot of bottles popping. And my favorite couple so far is staying out people business, and I like that.
Wait a minute. What? Oh, your favorite couple? Oh, okay. You'll tell us a little bit later about who that favorite. I think I know. I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Right.
Yeah. Well, El Cid's favorite couple are my favorite couple as well because they be staying out of people's business, and it seems like everybody else's relationship is, if it isn't crumbling, then it's on its way to crumbling. Like there's either secrets that have yet to be told, or they're recovering from secrets that they're finding out. So I'm surprised at how many relationships have hit this level of conflict as early as they've been together.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just got what you were saying in the gravy. I looked in the chat. Okay, JR. Yeah, that's a mess. Well, you know what? Speaking of that particular ex-football player, Hall of Famer, I think I see some tendencies of lack of discipline in some of our daters on this week.
Boy, I won't talk about the former footballer and his situation because it's very graphic, and he put himself in a very silly position. But with regards to the show, particularly Clavoisier, man, he's in a situation that he keeps digging himself deeper into, and we can tell. Is it Tatiana that he's with?
Yes,
Yes.
Clay and
Right.
Tatiana. Yes.
Tatiana, you saw her reaction to the whole vegan situation.
Hmm.
So that's why it's taken him a long time to get to tell her this. I don't even think he's going to tell her, to be honest. I think they probably will finish before she even finds out.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why I say this the sexual lack of sexual discipline because you got random babies that seem to be popping up. You've got men and women that are hiding children, or should I say, a woman and men who are hiding children that we know of. And I think that's probably one of the most despicable things an adult person can do is to hide their children. Like, what are you ashamed of? Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on. I didn't know if it was my turn, but yeah, people. It seems like we need a baby shower. Everybody's got a baby. It seems like everybody's hiding life. They are hiding their children. They're hiding different things, and some people, even when things are revealed to them, they're just not, seeing it clearly.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
everybody telling on themselves. It's just the people ain't seeing it.
Right. And that's a very good point too, because is it just me in the era that I grew up in that, we all as women, we gotta trust but verify, and that the mama stories and the daddy stories that were told to us growing up was that men lie. Men lie, men say what they think you want to hear to get in your pants. So, what I don't know. What's really going on? Hey, Monique. Hey, hey, hey. But let's get started with some of these where we're at with some of the what happened this week. Okay. The guys were talking about um last week when they were asked the question, like, if you were to leave today, would you go with your partner? Would you, yes, no, or whatever? And here we have Jared saying F no. you know, and he's holding it up. And unbeknownst to his lady friend, this is what he actually said about their situation. What are your thoughts, JR?
I think it was very, I think it was a very shady move for him to initiate that game. Um, and then even shadier because like he's obviously having second thoughts about a relationship, but he still wants to hit the boom boom room and play on the attraction that they have. Um, Now the thing is, as much as he's doing that, Charlie wants to hit the boom boom room with him too, and because she's very attracted to him. But I don't, I think he needs to just tell her six
What it
kids is going to
is?
be 6 kids are going to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
And by putting F no, that definitely shows you. Like he tried to explain it as if he was doing it just to be petty or like kind of jokey with it. But nah, he meant that. It's
Right.
too much for him. Yeah, you're trying to mask it.
Right. He's trying to mask it. And a lot of the people here are trying to mask a lot of different things, which is, like I said, I don't know why. Whatever happened to honesty? Honesty is the best policy. Whatever happened to, I think all these couples right now seem to be, except for one, as Elsie pointed out, they all seem to be struggling with their communication styles and just really wanting to be honest. Hey there, Pandy. Welcome in. Welcome in. You guys, if you do natural hair and you like self care, you definitely want to check out my girl Pandy, Hair Candy, and More. She has got some awesome videos, some haul videos, makeup tutorial, wig tutorials, natural hair care tutorials, and you just better go and check her out. That's all I can tell you. But I'm sorry, what were you saying, Jr.? You were saying, commenting. Or is that Sid? El Sid?
No, I thought Jared was finishing, but no. Yeah, they have communication issues. All of these couples, but it's something they could solve real easy. Now it makes me wonder, what are they talking about all this time, all these months that they were talking virtually? What are we doing?
Yes, exactly. This is what I'm wondering. Some of these people, two of these couples have been talking for over 4 years, and that would be Jared and Charlie and Kiki and oh wait a minute, no, I always say that wrong. Kiki. Okay, wait a minute. Kiki and Jared.
Kiki and Brandon.
Okay, wait a minute. Kiki and Brandon, Charlie and Jared. Okay,
Right.
those two couples right there have been talking over 4 years. And what?
Couldn't do it. Couldn't be me.
No, that's my thing. And I think when you see people that say they've been talking online and they live in the same country too, like, come on, you could have got a bus, a train, a motor scooter, anything, and been down the highway, within 6, 7, 8 months. Like, what are we waiting years for? That's just like, it's some kind of fantasy, I think.
Yeah, but also you have to realize, if you take Jared and Charlie, for example, right? If they had decided to meet earlier in person, then she wouldn't have been able to hide her children for as long as she had.
Right, but then she would have known yay or nay whether he wanted her or not. Because what's the point? Like, if at the end of the day, when you give out your so-called secret that, like, this is not something you can hide. Having
Mm-hmm.
children, when he comes to visit, he's gonna see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, what were you really gaining from that? That's why I say, to me, it's all a fantasy. These are fantasy romances, at least these two. The two between Charlie and Kiki and their respective men.
Mm-hmm.
These are fantasy relationships. They're never going to work in the real world because they never even tried to meet each other in 4 years.
Yeah, but Kiki couldn't, because she still lived with her ex up until 4 months ago.
Right. And why, pray tell, is she even messing around with this man, and she's been living with her ex for 4 years? The one that she claims that had multiple affairs on her, and even, I think, had an outside baby. What fantasy?
Yeah, definitely. And when, I know we're going to get to it, but she said there was some overlap. That's more than some overlap, isn't it? It's basically
Yeah,
carrying on two relationships.
two different relationships. Exactly.
Mhm.
And then, here we have names. Is it Cinco?
Jay.
Jay?
Cinco, yeah, Cinco.
Cinco. Jay is a lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cinco, here we have Cinco saying, pointing out once again, which is so hilarious, that 4 out of the 7 men said no. Like, so how are these relationships going to work? More than half the men don't want the women that are there. More than half. Right, Pandy. Wow, exactly. But we'll move on. We'll move forward. So then we have Chris here, who actually does admit, and I thought this was took some maturity on his part and some self-awareness to say that, he was being petty when he said his no, and that right now he's thinking that it might be a okay maybe. So what'd you guys think of that?
Don't be a maybe if you want to be with me. It's either you yes or you no. But it's perfectly fine if Chris is like a maybe, but she is telling him, Alexis or Lexi
Mm-hmm.
is telling him, and she knows his history and doing all these things that can trigger negative reactions from him. It
Mm-hmm.
should be a no. It should be a no for him.
Yeah, you think that she's not gonna come off that controlling tip now that they had the conversation? You don't think that she can change and
No,
not be
she ain't
controlling?
changing. She gonna try. She gonna ride this wave out.
She gonna ride the wave out. Okay. All right. We move on to the next scene. We've got Jared and his girl Charlie, and they are now talking about the intimacy suite. Like, okay. All right, guys. Y'all talking about the intimacy suite. Um, and on the outside, out by the pool, Kiki and Brandon, she's kind of reprimanding him because she's saying that he wouldn't talk to her. I think now this is something I noticed about a couple of the daters, and this particular person in especially Brandon does seem to shut down when there's any type of disagreement or there's going to be any kind of confrontation, rather than just deal with it in the moment. He's always pushing it back or walking away. What did you see it?
I do appreciate him pushing it back and walking away because sometimes you need that to kind of catch your breath and not lash out and say something that may hurt the person. He has, I've been thinking about this and I, do the recaps as well on another Round JS's channel. And I keep saying his responses, especially last week when he
Mm-hmm.
stood up at the table and pointed at her, seemed
Mm.
like it was coming up from a place in his past where someone with alcohol chose alcohol above him. I felt like I was seeing the child
Mm.
in him saying, "Am I not good enough for you to stop drinking for?" And now we find
Mm.
out this week that's where it's coming from. But I appreciate him saying, "Hey, I'm tired. I don't want to talk. We're going to talk about it tomorrow." And he kept to his word. He didn't like that he had to talk about it, but he kept his word. Let's have this conversation. I promise we're going to talk. We're going to talk. And I'm like, Kiki, let's hash it out now. But then you may have a partner that's like, hey, I need to digest this before
Yeah.
we work through it. So I appreciate him honestly saying he can't do it right now.
You know what? That is fair. That is fair. JR?
Yes, sir. Brandon he obviously revealed why he is concerned about her drinking. And I think during this scene, it got quite touchy between them because she said, he's not her daddy. So she doesn't want him talking to her like that. Like, it's too controlling. And I think he made a valid point. You're not here on vacation. We're here to get to know each other and spend time with each other after having this 4-year relationship online.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've got different priorities.
Mm.
And so I agree with him on this particular instance. You're not here, just like we were saying with Ty and Brittany or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there to make friends with the group and get social and get drunk and get crunk and get lit and all these different things. You're
Right.
there for each other. And that's why I think Kiki's receiving um, so much heat from him because
Mm-hmm.
he's there to finally meet her after all this time. Imagine 4 years and you haven't seen each other. And then when he does get to see her, she's talking about she's a social drinker and she's turning up and she wants to relax and feeling like a vacation. I'll be pissed too. Like, get
you
your priorities straight.
you got an excellent point, and so does El Cid. And you know what? I also just realized as I'm looking at them and I'm thinking about this and trying to think it through. He puts off conversations, and as Elsie says, sometimes for a man or even a woman, because I'm like that sometimes, I may need processing time and I may say we have to talk about this later. And I think that that's incumbent upon the other person in the conversation to respect that, never overstep that boundary when the person is saying we're going to have to talk about this later. Now you can hold them accountable if a day, 2, 3 days go by and you still haven't talked about it. You can hold them accountable. But what I was going to say is, so I think he's avoidant in terms of conflict, but she's also avoidant in terms of, like, to what you were saying, JR. She's avoidant in terms of really focusing in on the relationship. And if you notice, every time he asks her about how many drinks or why this or why that, she's always using the excuse, well, I'm not drinking any more than anybody else here. Everybody's drinking. That's really a poor excuse for why you're doing something. Is because somebody else jumped off the bridge. Now you're going to jump off the bridge. So I think, they're both frustrated with one another, but JR, to your point, they definitely need to focus in on why they're really there. She's saying a vacation and he's saying it's not a vacation. I'm saying if they're smart and if she's smart, she could have both. She can get to know her man deeper and better and finally confess to him her secret and find out where she stands with him. And she can also have a little bit of a vacation, but just slow down on the drinking. How about that?
Yeah, she could slow down on the drinking. They could both have what they want, even if it's a vacation. If this is how we vacation together as a couple, is it going to be you doing your own thing and I'm sitting here preparing meals for everybody else? If it's a
Yeah,
vacation, you got to include me as your partner in whatever you're enjoying, or you also, enjoy something that I enjoy.
that's true. Now that's a very good point. What is the commonality between them? What things are they going to share and enjoy doing together, even if one of them had never done it before? Like the cooking experiment. I mean, the cooking task that they were tasked with last week. I can understand why he was disappointed that he had to do all the work. And she said at first, she said she wasn't feeling well, but then that didn't seem to be true because she came right back out and she was sitting out in the hot sun and drinking some more.
I said last week when he was washing them pots and pans because she didn't even help him clean up,
Mm-mm.
nobody would be sleeping because I'll be washing them pots and pans real loud. I'm sorry.
Clank,
I'll be
clank,
real
clank,
loud.
clank, clank, clank. Stainless steel, and the iron, wrought iron, and just
What?
clanking.
It'll be some dented pots after. It'll be clean, but it's gonna be a few dents in there.
What about you, Jr.? Would you have been loud with your dishwashing if your lady did not at least come into the kitchen to kind of help out, help you clean up?
I'll admit, um, I don't know if I would have been loud with the dishwashing, but I would have been loud with telling her, like, listen, you made me wash up dishes for what, 12, 14 people in the house while you was
Yeah,
out walking
oh,
around gallivanting outside.
gallivanting.
Yeah, like, I can see why he's frustrated with that because,
Yeah.
like we said last week, she gave no effort to the actual task, which was cooking a meal together for the rest of the house. So,
Mhm.
I think Brandon makes a business decision every time he knows he's about to get heated. He decides, you know what, I'm not doing this right now. I'm out.
Mm.
Um, so on the one hand, he's being self-aware because he's realizing, listen, it's getting to the point where I'm going to escalate, so I need to get out of here. But on the other hand, I can see why it would feel dismissive to Kiki as well, because she's
Mhm.
like, every time we get into a conversation, he storms off.
Mhm. And does.
Yes, he does. But it's again, if he stays there, we've already seen flashes of him getting like he'll stand up and then he'll start gesticulating and he's frustrated. So it's giving angry black man syndrome a
Mm.
certain time. Yeah. So I think it's good that he does kind of de-escalate it by stepping out of the situation. Let's talk
Mhm.
about it tomorrow. But when he comes back to talk about it tomorrow, Kiki may not feel like talking about it. Like she didn't. She said, no, yesterday when I wanted to talk about it, you didn't want to.
Mhm. Yeah. That.
So they're
Mm.
going to keep butting heads if that continues, right?
Right, because somebody's got to be the bigger person, or both of them have to be more mature and say, she's got to say, well, yeah, he didn't want to talk about it last night, but now he's ready to talk about it. So let's go for it. What I don't see in a lot of these couples is any kind of empathy for one another. Like, you guys have been talking anywhere from 8 months to 4 years. Where's the empathy for one another? Where's the part where you finally try to be understanding of the other person? Because I
Absolutely.
don't I don't think anybody wants sympathy, but I do think that everybody wants empathy and wants for their partner to try to understand where they're coming from. Well, we move forward because now you guys got to help me with her name. Ah,
Alicia?
Alicia.
Alicia, yeah, thank you. Alicia, I wanted so bad to call her something else. But Alicia is overhearing Brandon, who has now come into the kitchen to continue, kind of ragging on his girl, Kiki. And so Alicia comes in and she's like, well, you know what? This isn't the time or place. You really don't need to be talking all this talk about, you know, what's going on. I don't like it. I like peace. I live for peace. It was just like she just came in there kind of like uh she came in hot. Did
Telling
I
him
miss
what to do, being
it?
bossy,
Being
being
bossy.
bossy.
So you saw it too that she did come in there hot.
Oh yeah, I heard the song coming in hot because I was like, you wish for him to be understanding to his girl. You know he's already heightened and upset and frustrated, and you gonna come in da 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 da. No, it ain't gonna work. I
Mm-mm.
wonder if does she know how to catch more bees with honey? I
Mm-mm.
wonder because it's like this this baffles me because wasn't this her yoga partner? Was this the
Yeah.
man that she preferred to spend time with
hmm
rather than her man?
You thought the same thing I thought. I was like, oh, that was the man you was stretching and dipping and bending and doing the dog pose with. Like what?
Right. So why are we, yes, it was the correct thing. She should have been as anybody for you to solve this issue. It is an issue with your partner. You really should be speaking to your partner. But again, we're there, all of us, to kind of work through our relationship. And I think Brandon, one, wanted to vent, and two, he wanted to get a different perspective. Don't halt his, how he's trying to find his own resolution for them as a
hmm
couple, because it maybe he's like, am I wrong? He's standing there talking to Tatiana. He's like, am I wrong? Am I crazy? And she
Yeah,
just comes in and cuts him off, and it's like, girl, if you didn't want to be part of the drama, stay out the daggone kitchen and conversation.
that's right. If you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. Get out the kitchen, Jr.
Yeah, she kind of put herself in people's business by offering her 2 cents when they weren't needed, right?
hmm
Um, Alicia says, she's trying to avoid drama, she's trying to avoid chaos, she's trying to protect her peace. She's trying to listen. Her relationship is not like that. Her relationship is, I won't say volatile, but she's not feeling Irving, and the frustration that both of them have. Like every single time that they're together, there's an issue. So
Yeah,
that's why Brandon was chirping back by saying, listen, you're talking about my relationship with Kiki and when I should talk to her and take my problems to her. But look at your relationship. Your relationship ain't going nowhere. Like you're arguing all the time. So why are you offering your 2 cents about what I should do when you need to fix your own business in your relationship?
When she should be talking to her own man.
Exactly.
right.
And like you said, Aubrey,
Hmm
like she was doing yoga with Brandon, even though Irvin asked her to do it. Like he said, "Listen, I've never done it before, but I'll do it with you to try and get close to you." And she went and got changed and started doing it with Brandon. That's crazy.
Very
But she wants peace and she wants calm. That type of stuff is going to cause Irvin to be frustrated because he's like, "Right, I offered to do it with you, and you went and did it with someone else." So if she
Yeah.
cared so much about peace and calm
hmm
in her relationship, like that wouldn't have crossed her mind to go and do it with someone else's man.
Not at all. Yeah. And I don't know. You have to almost kind of consider, is she fussing at Brandon because maybe she wishes to be in Kiki's position, if you know what I'm saying.
Ha,
but
uh,
but in any case, we do see that Jared has this conversation with Erwin about his woman and says, hey, I think you need to talk to your girl because her coming down on me about what, me trying to get advice about me and my woman. I think personally she should mind her business. So we end up here with these two trying to have this conversation, and he's trying to say to her, look, you've got to learn to mind your business. Uh, Elsia, you got any thoughts or that you want to say about this particular scene?
Another lost in translation moment. She immediately thought she knew what he was about to say. She thought he immediately was going to say it in a matter of fact of stay out of people business. And she's like, I'm staying out of people business. I'm just chilling. I was just here. Da, da, da. Alicia, sometimes you need to just get up and leave. Once you knew Brandon and Kiki was having a relationship conversation and you didn't want to be a part of it, that's when you skedaddle and give them the room to have a private conversation. But
Right.
Irvin was coming there saying, hey, I am your man. I got your back. But you are running into battles that we ain't got to be a part of. And I can't be constantly on guard because I don't know where the next mission is going to take me. Irvin is Irvin is like, I'm tired. Irvin is the opposite of Kiki. He's like, we here on vacation. I want to just chill. And here you are in the battlefield.
Yeah, yeah, can't stay out of the battlefield. And did anybody notice like some of the communication errors that were going on? Like he tries to talk, and she is one of two women that I noticed that does this a lot. Alicia does it, and Tatiana does it to Clay. When the men are trying to talk, they immediately jump in with a defense rather than wait and listen to even hear the whole sentence of what they're saying. They don't even know what they're about to say, and they're already, but no, that's not the way it was. You did, you did, you did, and you did. This is to me like a very big part of why they're having communication issues, these two people, Alicia and Irwin. Um, do we think, does anyone here on the panel think that Alicia likes Irwin, is attracted to Irwin, wants to get
No,
closer to
no,
Irwin?
absolutely not. No.
Elsie,
Definitely not. Definitely not. She don't even want a piece of him at all.
uh, have we figured out why? Look
It
at
may
this.
be as simple it may be as simple as, the physical chemistry isn't there like she thought it would be
Mm-hmm.
upon meeting. They may have great conversation and it's like, dang, okay, yeah, in person, it ain't giving that vibe. It may be that, but I don't know. The old people old people would sometimes say she, smelled his pheromones and it didn't call to hers.
Wait a minute, say that again. What the old people
Old
say?
people would say she smelt his pheromones and it didn't call to hers,
Oh
meaning
yeah,
that it didn't. She wasn't drawn to his essence.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's so funny you mentioned that because I really strongly believe in a person's scent being attractive to you, and if you get a someone that you're dating or seeing, and you realize that their scent is not attractive to you, I think to me that's like an automatic no. I know it sounds crazy, but and I'm not talking about somebody who hasn't taken a shower, by the way. I'm talking about their, like you said, their essence, because we all
Yeah,
have different smells and scents on our body. But yeah, he's telling her he wants her to stop agitating the problem and just chill out. And look at the look on her face that she's giving him. Like, if looks could kill, I think he'd be in trouble. I think he would be in trouble. But we've got
he'd be done. And then
he
she
would.
went and talking in tongues. He would be cast out.
Oh yeah, that. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me of that. What in the world? I said, now you know what? Wait a minute. From somebody that comes from a sanctified church where speaking in tongues is a thing, right? Like, what in the world? What made her just start speaking in tongues? Talking about she was looking for her peace. Like, girl, you keep saying you want peace, but you continue to be in other people's business instead of drinking your water and staying hydrated. You in other folks' business. Stop that. Like she is a mess. Um, but you know what? The counselor, Dr. Ali, comes in to sit down and talk with Kiki and her man Jared, her guy Jared, to kind of find out what's going on. And we find out from Jared that, as JR pointed out, that in his past, in his childhood, there was this trauma of his mother um, being married to this his stepfather who was an alcoholic, and apparently there was some arguing and fighting in the home, and this gave him some trauma that he had to deal with as a child, and maybe now bringing some of this baggage into his adulthood is the reason why he's this way with Kiki about her drinking. Jr., did you agree with what Dr. Alley was saying in terms of that she thought that Jared was a little bit too overbearing in his thoughts and his words toward Kiki?
You mean Brandon, not
Brand
Jared? Yeah.
oh, wait a minute,
Um.
Brandon. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know why I want to
So
say Jared.
yeah, I think his verbiage can come across very strong, but that's because, like you were um, saying over the last few weeks, there may be some trauma behind what he's witnessing, and that emotionally charges him, it triggers him. And that's why his verbiage is very sharp about this. It's a strong boundary that he has about the level of drinking that she does.
Hmm.
So, yes, maybe bring the tone down, but still express concern in a different way. But I actually think the therapist did a great job of highlighting to Kiki why Brandon is concerned. Because when she asked Kiki, how many drinks do you have? She went, I think she said 6 or 7 in a day. Right? And
Yeah,
obviously, she revealed her trauma too, why she's been using the drink as a coping mechanism or whatever.
right. Her mother's
But
passing. Yeah.
she gently reminded her that, listen, 4 drinks is considered binging. So if you're up to 6 or 7 every day, then that is a problem. And that's what Brandon is seeing in the short space of time that you've been together in person.
All
Too
right.
many, too many drinks. And
Hmm.
it's going to be down to Kiki how she decides to minimize what she's doing. Because she says she's a social drinker. I really think she drinks out of anxiety.
Okay.
I think there's, I think, because she wants to be the life and soul of the party, I think there's like a social anxiety behind that.
Mm.
And then I also think because she's hiding a secret from Brandon and she's very
Ah.
nervous about how he's going to react, I think she's drinking to cope with the nerves that she has about the secret as well.
Mm. Very good points. Elsie, what did you think about the advice that was offered from Dr. Alley and what was said in the counseling session?
I do agree with what JR is saying. It's not just party. I think she's eating up with anxiety of telling him the secret. Because if he's acting like this about drinking, then, you know, and I'm sure it came out what we saw in the clips. It ain't just drinking on vacation. She was falling off the ottoman and not being able to carry herself to her room when she drank. Um, the time we saw on camera. I'm like, okay, there's always room for a therapist. Always room for a therapist. But what are we talking about? It's like she's not surprised by his trauma, but you're still not understanding that what you're doing is inducing this reaction, why he's reacting like this. He has
Right.
seen what it has done to his family. So he will react in a way that's like, this can destroy our family that we're trying to build. So it's like you putting your own enjoyment or your own feelings above all else, above your partners, above everything. And then he's sitting there trying to save her from herself and realizing he cannot do it. He's trying to stay afloat and it's a losing battle. So it looks controlling. But they need to communicate. I did not like in the later on how they decide to correct. I didn't like it at all, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, what did you think? Well, I got you said. What did you think about this overlapping so that when Brandon steps away to leave the counseling session and go back into the house, Dr. Ali says, okay, well, you wanted some time for us to discuss some things. And she's telling Dr. Ali, well, you know, I'm afraid to tell Brandon the truth because basically, I lived with my ex for years after we broke up, and while Brandon and I were talking online and supposedly dating. What did you make of that, Elsie?
It is not ideal at all, and I have more questions. How are you living? Where were you living? Because I know some people who are like no longer married, going through divorce, that had to basically coexist. But again, that's a married couple. That not leaving tells me Kiki doesn't have the financial stability to get out.
Mm.
That's what it's telling me, because I don't know anyone who has the money to move that won't move.
And the
And
money to sustain themselves in that move wherever they decide to live, apartment or house or whatever. Okay.
exactly. And the state of
Oh.
the Atlanta rental market, that's where she's from,
Mm-hmm.
is wicked. So I can
Wow.
understand, but I'm sure she can find roommates.
Mm-hmm.
But it's convenience too. So I need to know, hey, at least you don't have a baby coming through, okay? At least,
Yeah. She's
at
smart
least
in
you.
that. She's like, I'm gonna use protection. We gonna be protected.
But
So we not
my
we,
question is, did she spend that time? Because is she on her own now? And did she use that time, as she said, to garner her money so she can go and have her own place? Because people could be
mm,
leaving relationships, but hey, this economy is rough on folk. When it comes time that you have to have first month, last month security deposit, it's rough out there.
U-Haul money, moving pizza money
Movers, what?
pizza for your friends that's gonna help move you. It's a
Girl,
lot.
it's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot. Yep. Oh, and don't forget, if you're moving out of whatever apartment, you're gonna probably take a little bit of a loss on the dents and the dings in the wall or whatever. Ooh, yeah. I just thought the overlapping part. I thought like, wow, that's wild. That's wild that that is such a long overlap. I think that I've seen cases where, you know, someone is still in a relationship or still in the home for a few months and they're, like you said, getting their first month, last month, deposit together. But for 4 years?
That's not overlap. That's not oversight.
No. What
That's
is
not
it? What is it, JR? What is it? She just
that.
two timing.
Yeah, that's a player right there. That's what that is.
Ooh, not the player. Don't hate the
Yeah,
player, hate the game.
yeah, that's a player right there.
Yeah.
If the relationship was over and she still continued to stay with the guy for as long as she did, but then strike up a relationship with Brandon, you know, again, her and Brandon been talking for 4 years, and it's only 4 months since she moved out of their ex's house.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I
And that's
blame.
why she's so nervous to tell Brandon, listen, we've
Hmm.
seen how Brandon reacts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. She's definitely nervous. She's terrified that he's gonna leave.
But my thing is these are her relationship with Brandon and the other young lady that has the 4 year Charlie. Oh my God, it's Charlie and Jared. These are fantasy relationships. These are like, I don't know if they're distractions from their real life. I guess that's possibly what they are. It's like maybe watching porn or something. Because, like, what are you doing? 4 years and you've not met the person in person? Come on. That's wild. But the couples decide to head out. They're going to get a date outside of the house. So we got Tatiana and Clay in the front row in the foreground, and you got who is it, Erwin and Alicia in the back. And of course, they're the two of them in the back there looking like they're just very disinterested. They're looking different ways. They're not making eye contact. They're not sitting close together, shoulder to shoulder, or his arm around her or her arm around him. None of that. And then you got Clay over here saying that well, you got Tatiana that basically is trying to say that she was embarrassed in front of everybody about this whole the whole vegan gate. What did you make of that, Elsie?
I love that you call it vegan gate. Yeah, Clay is just the is giving me the dude that just says what you want to hear. He ain't got
Yep.
nothing to back it up.
Yep.
He ain't gonna walk the walk, talk the talk. He
Mm-mm.
ain't gonna say, you know what, I'll try for you, but I may fall short. He's like, oh no, 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 yeah, I'm there with you. I'm gonna be vegan. Cold turkey, pun intended. Cold turkey, gonna be vegan.
Oh,
And
turkey.
here you are thinking he gonna be vegan with you. And she knew not to give her hopes up, but she also said none of her exes have been vegan. Him sliding, it's like, dude, you're in a house full of other people. Do you not think she gonna know? Do you not think she ain't gonna smell the meat on your breath? You had chicken, turkey, and bacon on that sandwich.
I mean,
Did
like,
you brush your teeth? Did you hide? She will know.
right. And the
So
killer
why is he
part,
make?
oh, she
Yeah,
didn't
he
even
wants to
she
be
didn't
like.
even want him to be. He didn't have to be vegan, like you pointed out.
No, he didn't need to be. And she ain't checking for him. Her thing is, you don't need to be vegan, but you promised, or not promised, but you said you're going to make a change. You
Hmm.
know, stick with it. But you don't need to. You don't need to tell me, foolishness. Just be you.
Yeah, that's it. She is. She's been telling him, just be yourself. Quit trying to be someone else. He's giving off them people pleaser vibes, like someone else we're gonna talk about in a minute. That's giving off the people pleaser vibes. In fact, coming up right now, uh, having a good time. Okay, well we're at the top golf. This is the top golf scene where everybody is there. They're gonna play a little bit of what do you call that kind of golf? I don't know if it's putt golf. What is that? Elsie.
It's top golf. It's just like playing golf in an arcade. That's all it is.
Okay, okay, yeah, just playing golf. Okay, so they're doing that. The ladies are there, the guys are there. We see them toasting up to, "Hey, let's have a good time." And you got Brandon saying, "Hey, you know what?" And I thought this was interesting because in the first episode, in the first week, didn't we hear Brandon basically say that he doesn't drink? Didn't he tell Kiki that on the first date? Or am I hallucinating?
Right. He said he doesn't drink. It's not his thing to do because remember, he was also in football, so if he is disciplined in his diet, and Brandon's got that body. I always,
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
Brandon
he
look
does.
good.
Hmm.
I could wash the clothes off of that washing board abs.
Hmm.
But he said he doesn't drink, and we could understand, but he's trying to change himself for her. I don't
Mm,
like it. I don't like it at all. It's like you told her this is driving you bonkers, and now
right.
you wish to wade in the mud with her with this. This is not the way. What you could do is like, hey, I got you. I'm with you. I'm not going to be judging you how you drink, and I'll just continue drinking my ice water. That's it.
Hmm. Drinking my sweet tea.
There you go.
My soft beverage. JR, what do you think about this? Do you think he should be changing and he should be uh, giving in to her and deciding to take a drink with her? I mean, yeah, we know that they went to the therapist, but couldn't he support her without necessarily having to drink?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why he'd want to play in the mud with her over this. This is an issue for him, obviously, with the level that she consumes. So I think the better thing would be to continue to not drink himself so that she has an example of
Hmm.
someone who doesn't need to drink
To have
but
fun.
can still be in the party, be the life and soul of the party, have fun. You know, you don't need alcohol to have fun and wind down. So in a way, I think he's kind of enabling her to continue drinking and drinking to that level. But I think she can tone it down. If it's just one or two glasses every now and then, that's a lot different to what she's doing at the moment. And I don't see him drinking uncontrollably.
No. You don't.
He seems like he's going to be a responsible person with his alcohol.
You
And
know.
I think that's the difference. I think that's why he keeps calling her out, because he
Okay.
sees it as irresponsible of her to keep doing it and putting herself in a position where she's waking up sluggish, or she's stumbling and falling over, or things like that.
Hmm.
As a man, he probably finds that a bit embarrassing that his girl's doing that in front of everyone and in front of the cameras as well.
Right.
But I get it. As a pro athlete, he probably wasn't. He's probably not used to indulging in those type of things. I don't think it's smart for him to, um, join her on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering about that too. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Um, I'm hoping the best for them. Uh, Alicia's here saying that she wanted the heat of the day to go away. Interesting. Um, these two, they are talking about the whole vegan gate, as I've dubbed it. He is trying to please her, as El Cid pointed out. He's trying to please her. He's saying everything that he thinks she wants to hear. But is that the right thing to do, JR? To tell a woman what you think she wants to hear? Is that the right thing to do, even if it's not true? Okay. El Cid?
No, I was
Are you
here.
there?
Sorry,
Oh,
I was just about to
okay.
go. Yeah, I feel like um, Clay Clavoisier, he doesn't take the whole vegan thing as serious as Tatiana does, right?
All right.
Because I think he's trying to say he's experimenting with it. It's an idea of something that he wants to try, and he's giving it a go. But he kind of didn't see the severity of it, but he was very accountable, and he realized why she's upset, and he apologized. And I think she was still strong despite appreciating his apology. She was like, well, if you're able to lie about small stuff like this, then you lie about anything. And
Mm.
then that probably made him go into cold sweats, because he's hiding the biggest secret of all, and he doesn't want to tell her. So she flipping out over this vegan thing like this. He's probably thinking, "Oh hell no, I can't tell her about this child."
And JR, I think I have to offer a correction for something you just said. Is it not? I don't think she's flipping out about the vegan thing, because she's told him over and over again, as well as some of the ladies, that she doesn't care if he's vegan or not. That's, she's not a person that's obsessive about, her man has to have the exact same lifestyle diet that she has. What she's upset about is the fact that he's playing on her. Like, he's saying one thing, and then he's very clearly in the kitchen eating with the other couples. He's eating a bacon. What was it? Bacon, chicken, ham
Beef,
hocks,
all
Chicken,
of all of the
bacon,
meats,
everything.
steak, all in one sandwich.
all of the meats.
All the meats.
Yeah, no. I get what you're saying. I'm not
Okay.
saying that she's kind of put pressure on him or forcing him to do it. No, it's the opposite. He tried to play a role that's not actually him. He's tried to say, "Okay, I'll give it a try."
Hmm.
I think what he's trying to do is say, "I'm a vegan," to try and align with her and get in her favor. But in reality, he's only testing it out to try and see if it's going to work. So the moment he smelt that bacon being cooked, that Canadian bacon in maple
Ooh.
syrup,
What
right?
you know about that?
So he decided to tuck in, and he didn't do it on the quiet. He sat down and munched that in front of Cinco and a few other people. So obviously he wasn't even mindful that it was going to get back to her.
Mm-mm.
So she just felt like he's playing in her face.
Yep, playing in her face. Hey there, Miss Wilson. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you hit that like button, and share with a friend. Elsie, what did you say about this? About these two?
I wonder, I'm wondering if she's as diabolical as I am because I think she heard a lot more at the pool than she's letting on, and she's just poking and prodding him to just freak
Oh,
himself.
oh, you think she's
And
poking the bear a little bit?
yeah, because that's something I would do. I already know the answer. I already heard you, but I'm gonna sit here and play in your face because you're playing in mine. But
Hmm.
that's diabolical. That is diabolical. Or her intuition is just telling her, if you're going to lie about being vegan, then there's something else you're lying about, and there isn't anything you would lie about. If you're lying about just something as simple as food, then
Yeah,
you could lie and tell me it's raining outside and it's not. Food is simple. It's
very.
okay to be, it's okay to fall, it's okay to, stumble. It's okay if this is not the lifestyle you want. She just wants you to be honest with her and say, hey, I tried this vegan thing, girl, but I'm gonna have to cut down the number, the meat. Now I gotta say, I have been on this journey like Clay. I'm not vegan, but
Hmm.
I did lessen, what type of meats I ate, lessen how many servings of meat, and
Okay,
less and less. Then I
okay,
decided to just be vegan on the weekends, give my body a rest.
okay.
I'm serious. So
No,
I'll
I
eat
like that. I
certain.
actually like that because I've done the vegetarian thing, and it's difficult. And for me, I can't say everybody has to do it gradually, but I had to do it gradually. So thank you for sharing. You do yours on the weekend.
Right, that's what I used to do because it's not just hard. The hard part is thinking of what you can eat and supplementing in your diet what your body needs in a different way.
Hmm.
If you don't know where you can get your protein in different ways, if you don't know where you're getting your vitamins and stuff in different ways, then
Hmm.
it can be very hard because veganism means no eggs. So now you've got to look at plant-based in a different way. So maybe you take it simple. Maybe you're like, hey, I'll do plant-based for one day on the weekend, and my husband and I, we did a plant-based Thanksgiving one time. It was very different for us, but you can do it every now and again and see how your body responds. I just eat certain seafood now, but I don't eat poultry. I don't eat ground beef. I don't eat, any kind lamb, nothing of that sort, but I will eat some seafood. So again, it's all in how your one body reacts, and it's your own personal journey. And Tatiana is trying to explain to him, it's your journey with food, not mine. Just be
Right,
honest with me.
right. Miss Wilson absolutely agrees with you. Yeah, it's a very difficult and personal journey. And what I was thinking about as you were talking about it is much like our journey in anything else in life, like whether it's a religious journey, um, your relationship with God. It's a personal journey, and nobody can tell you how that journey is going to go or be. They can only tell you what their experience is and try to understand your experience or not. That's really all it is. Yeah, Monique, she says it's hard too. She's down to just, oh, okay, fish and seafood. Could never be vegan. It takes lots of discipline. Yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But you got a very good point though, Elsid. I had not considered that exactly, that thing that you said, that maybe she knows what he's hiding from her, and she's just kind of poking the bear, just kind of poking him, like, yeah, let me say this, let me see if he has any conscience. And that's JR, what do you think? That's kind of scary too, because she's saying these things that would be, you and I talked about this earlier a couple weeks ago, how he has had all these openings, like when Charlie and Jared admitted that they had secrets, they had kept secrets from each other, and the secrets were children, right? He had all these opportunities, and he had one just now with this scene to come clean and say, hey, you know what, you probably really gonna hate this thing that I'm trying to hide from you. What do you think, JR?
No, you like it. I think it is exactly like that. I think he is afraid of the reaction that she's going to give, and the opportunities that he's missed, they've been glaring ones. they've been along the same lines as the secret that he's holding. So that's with Jared and Charlie. The other one, when he was getting a massage, when she was massaging him, you know, she asked him if there's anything else, and he said no, everything in due time. And then I agree with El Cid. I think she heard a lot more in the conversation with Jared than she's letting on. And I think she wants him to tell her rather than she blasts him with it. And that's
Yeah.
why I think particularly she's particularly hostile when when he does something wrong. Because I know she knows, because she's calling him things like a damn liar and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he decides to have a bacon sandwich or a PB&J or whatever he decides to have, he's a grown man. He can eat what he wants. But for her to have such a strong stance about it, I think she knows that there's some bullcrap that he's waiting to tell her, and it particularly pertains to stuff that she heard in that conversation. Because when he was having that conversation with Jared, she first was coming out of the property, coming out of the place they share, but she tiptoed and got a lot closer before they realized she was there. So she overheard a lot of stuff, and I think she's waiting for him to come clean. And because he hasn't, then that's what's making it such a difficult experience for him when she goes off.
Miss Wilson, that's a very good point. Miss Wilson has pointed out or suggested maybe she's checked out his social media accounts and has seen pictures of the baby, if he's ever posted. So that's a possibility. Or
Maybe.
or even sometimes you don't even have to post a picture. Like, let's say it's the holidays, and say he had the baby right around Christmas time, and everybody's clicking in saying, "Hey, Merry Christmas," whatever. And
Shall I
then
look
they're
this
like,
up?
how's the baby doing? How's Pookie
Where's
doing?
quality time on your love language list?
Say again.
Oh, I was saying,
What's going on back there? What's going on, JR? Okay.
So I'm saying,
Turn your camera on. Turn your camera on so we can see.
Turn my
Don't do
camera
it.
on.
Don't do it.
No, absolutely not. So what I think is that Clay needs to he needs to realize that how he communicates with her is coming across as hiding. Like, she knows he's hiding, basically. So he just needs to come clean. And I think in terms of their communication, I think she needs to, if she wants him to come clean, she needs to work out their communication style and where she can kind of draw it out of him to be a safe space. Because while she's ready to go off on him, he's not going to tell her. I think there has to be a lot of safety for him to feel comfortable to reveal that to her, because it's a big secret. And did he say that it was his ex-fiance that has the child for him?
Yes. Oh, let's talk about that. Go. What were you going to say to that?
So I was going to say, does she know that he was engaged before? Because that may be also something that she's not aware of.
Possibility. Right. I could agree with that. If he hiding what he eating, he'll be hiding that
child, a whole baby, a whole
fiance.
Baby.
I want to know when did the engagement break up? Was there overlap too, like Kiki and Brandon?
Yeah, and then hush up, Alexa, hush up. But I want to know also. My thing is, why is he? If he broke off the engagement with this young lady after she became pregnant with his child, or after he checked to find out, because at one point when he was talking to Jared, he was saying that he wasn't sure if it was his baby. He wasn't sure if it was his baby. But now he's saying, but then shortly after that he said, "Oh yeah, it's my baby." So maybe there was some type of paternity test, blood test. I don't
It's
know.
required. It's required in the state of Georgia if you're going to have this man you are not married to placed on the birth certificate or even get support from him. A
Hmm.
DNA test is required. They do it right there in the courtroom. They swab you down.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. Oh, okay,
So
that's something
so
I did
that's
not
how
know.
he's able to say for sure that's his child.
Mm. Come on with the facts. Yeah, Miss Wilson, all of that. He's clearly a liar. But here's my concern. This is where I was going with this whole thing. So he said he brought this woman, she moved in with him, and then she became pregnant. It's always weird to me the way men sometimes say, she got pregnant. Like, not that he was having doing the thing that causes a woman to get pregnant. They both were. They both were, right? He finds out it's his child, and now he's no longer engaged to his child's mother, and instead he's out here on this date with her. Like, that to me is some bullshit diggity. Because
I think
how
I
how
think it
how do
happened
you have
kind
wait, just hold on one second. How do you have, like, I'm so sick and tired of men who create families but then don't want to be a family, but then
of.
you move on to the next person. I'm sick and tired of that. That's my feeling on that, but you go ahead, Elsie. You may have different viewpoint.
I think, it's a timeline. It definitely is a timeline issue. We do have questions as to how it actually happened. I don't think Clay is the one that's going to give us a straight answer. But the way this could happen is that, hey, they, broke off engagement or whatever, went about their business, had business, and, she left and went about her life. But then a couple months later, she realized she's pregnant. And then she came back and say, "Hey, I'm having this baby and it's yours." And now we got to go through this journey. And instead of being like, I don't want no problems here," he
Hmm.
took her back. Let's see if we could build something before this baby comes. And they tried again, and it just didn't work out. That's my thoughts on what could have happened.
Okay.
Jr.
Yeah. JR, what's your thoughts on what could have happened?
Um, yeah, when I think about it now, I'm thinking they were engaged and they could have disagreed about whether to have the child or not. And if she decided to keep it, he was like, "No, I don't want the child," and I'm out. Or it could be the case that, like El Cid said, they broke up. He found out she was pregnant. He questioned paternity. She found that disrespectful
Okay.
and decided, okay, well, since you doubt the paternity, you must think that I'm cheating. So now I'm gonna make it difficult for you to see the baby. We're not going to get together, and you're just going to be on the hook for it.
Mm. Well, that's an Adam viewpoint, isn't it? And I bet El Cid knows what I mean when I said that's an Adam viewpoint.
Yep.
You could be. JR, you could very well be right, because I guess when I think about it, I may be being unfair, assuming that he's the one that broke off the relationship to dodge his responsibility. It could very well be that she's just sick and tired of him and all of his lies, because he does have a propensity to lie and to tell untruth. So I don't
Exactly.
know.
He
How do you
he
raise
might
a child with someone like that?
he might have told her that he's vegan too, and she found out that he eats meat. Decided to lock off the whole thing.
You know what? I'm through with you. I am through with
Hey,
you.
it's a possibility.
Yeah,
And
it's a possibility.
that's why he's got trauma about telling Tatiana because it's happened before.
You know what? If he would just stop lying, he would be a lot better off. Because honestly, Clay, I find him. I know Brandon's got the body, the physique, but I like Clay. I like his physique. I like him. I think he's attractive, but I just don't. Alexa, you can give me that report later. Oh my gosh. I just don't think that. I think he's attractive, but the thing that makes him very unattractive is he's not very reliable with the truth. He has a very weird relationship with the truth.
There's a lot more that makes him unattractive than that. I mean, aesthetically fine, but the way he
Hmm.
behaves like this middle school, kid that
Hmm.
knows he's lying and waiting for someone to call him out on it. It's such a, hunched over, hesitant, is this the time I'm going to be, outed
Hmm.
as a liar? It's just not very, stand up straight. It's not very much giving the military that he comes from. It's not giving the
Oh,
confidence.
oh, Clay is a veteran or has been in the
Yep,
military.
yep. That
Oh,
was
yeah,
one of his
no.
things with his visuals, and I can't stand that Superman thing on his chest. The minute I saw that, I was like, yeah, no, thank you, no.
Maybe that's Superman, as in I'm Clark Kent and Superman, and I'm living these dual identities. Because I'm not sure, as I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure he even broke it off with the fiance. What's to say?
She
Who's
could
to
be
say he's not
She
still
could
with
be at
her?
home. She could be at home with the baby. It's 1 month old. Instead, like Charlie should be home with her baby, he probably have her home with the baby. Don't know he's been talking to Tatiana on the internet all this time.
Exactly. And that's the other thing about these internet online relationships. They're so easy to keep secret too. Um. So later on, the ladies, and particularly Alicia is talking about how she feels with Irwin, that she feels like their energy is off, and he's giving off some really bad energy. Alicia, I'm gonna just clock it right now. You are one of my villains in this show. You are one of my villains, and we just got finished with the other one. That's Clay. You are a villain because you don't have seem to have any self awareness about who you are and what you do and how you cause trouble and how you disturb the peace, and then you say you want peace, and then I find out that I'm absolutely right this week about you, that you use things as you pretend to be a victim. So like you used your uh, uh, autoimmune condition, and you use that to say, well, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I can't have butter. Oh, don't talk about this now because I have this autoimmune. You use that as a weapon, and you do weaponize your condition. And you also weaponize the fact that you claim to want peace, and you are, in my opinion, a liar, a liar. Anyone
You
can
still
go.
here? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know. Yeah, she Alicia has given me real mean
Hmm.
girl vibes to the
Yep.
nth degree, and it's just mean with everybody. And while she's saying peace and serenity, she is not the peace and serenity she seeks to have, and that is the hard thing for me. Someone who claims to want peace, yet she does not give the energy. She said the energy is off real bad. Her
Hmm.
energy is what's off. She doesn't
Hmm.
understand that she brings the energy to the room, not the room is bombarding her. She's
Hmm.
giving it off. And I just like, Alicia, if you would just sit and get outside of yourself and view the room at a different angle, you will see you're bringing this energy. The piece that she's looking for, she cannot find it within. That is why she's having such a hard time. And I applaud Irvin in a sense of he is upset and I know he is frustrated and I'm over here yelling at Irvin, yet Irvin is keeping himself as calm as could be. He's like, whoa, wait, whoa, wait,
Hmm.
wait, let me finish what I gotta say. Cause I will be girl. I need to say this. Could you hush? He
Yep.
is just even keeled. But on the other
Very.
hand, this is an edited, produced show.
Mm.
And
Okay.
the way she keeps saying about Irvin this and the way she was talking to the women about not having peace later on, no
Mhm.
one kind of contradicted her or we didn't see that. So I'm like, is there a part of Irvin that they are intentionally keeping off the camera for us that we're not seeing?
Hmm. That's a good point. I do recall, who was it? Alexis or Lexi, who is Chris's mate that he met there and that he came to meet in the house. Lexi kind of said basically, "Hey, look, these men, we need a whole pastor to come and lay hands on these men because these menses, they're problematic," which I found interesting coming from Lexi. Jr., what are your thoughts?
Listen, Alicia don't like that man, right? So
Mm,
anytime she's talking about him or reflecting on her relationship, it's evident. Um, you're right. She talks about energies. This is not good for my body right now, and all these different things. But for the most part, it seems to be her dislike for him that's driving or at the center of all of this. I think what he's asking for is just for her to be accountable in some
mm-hmm,
situations where it's blatantly obvious that she's interjected or she's inflamed the situation. But now she's deflecting as well. So I don't necessarily think Irvin's energy is off from what I'm seeing. I'm more seeing that she's turned off by him, and anything he does is now a problem.
yeah, I don't think she cares for him that much either. I don't know what it is about him. It's his physicality, his pheromones, as El Cid mentioned. I don't know what it is exactly, or I think ultimately I'm getting this feeling that she's emotionally unavailable, and that she would probably have problems with pretty much anyone that she would meet right now.
Correct.
Um,
And that's kind of where I'm going with it as well. I think what it is, she relied on the online relationship because it's a relationship she can have where she gets quality time, she gets attention
mm-hmm,
and support or whatever.
mm-hmm,
But there's no physical touch.
nope,
There's no intimacy in terms of or any components leading to adult activities or anything. So that pressure is off. It's completely removed. Behind the screen, she can she can just take the attention and the benefits that come with that. But now in person, then there's now a focus to try and engage in the physical side of things, and she struggles to do that because of her condition and also the anxiety she has, and then the lack of attraction she has to him in person. So I think there's like a few things going on with her, but ultimately it's leading to conflict, not just necessarily on her part, but a large majority of the conflict we're seeing is centered around her dislike for him.
her
So
dislike.
yeah, and that's what I
Yeah.
think is frustrating him even more, and it's causing even more conflict. And they've already sat down with the therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think she's applied what the therapist advised.
No, I don't think she's applied.
No.
Sid, you were going to say something, I think.
While looking at Alicia and looking at them and encapsulating, her autoimmune disease, you know, going along with what JR just said, yes, the distance, but still getting the attention with an online, relationship is feeding that need for attention and adoration. Because Alicia is an absolutely gorgeous woman, and when
Beautiful,
people
physically.
like, right, people as gorgeous as her, it's a personality issue. 9 times out of 10, why people wouldn't stay with them. But here's my thing.
Mm,
I wonder if, and if you have not been with anyone or seen the dynamic of a relationship,
hmm
this autoimmune disorder also can affect your body and its responses to intimacy.
mm,
So even getting close, she probably cannot fathom intimacy with anybody, and the disappointment that
mm.
not being able to be intimate with her partner when the partner and her desire it, she can be later on seen as a burden rather than a partner. So in my quest to find some kind of empathy for Alicia, and this is all a guess, and it's all because I do know people who have been in marriages and are very, very ill. They were in marriages when they found out they were ill, so it was different. It could
Yeah.
be different dynamic dating because it's like Irvin
Mm.
doesn't know all it takes to take care of her
Ah, I
and
see.
to be with her. He doesn't. And it may be because she only showed the nice part while they were, dating online, and she's able to turn off the phone and, I hate to say it, but suffer in silence, and he doesn't have to experience the hard times. So she might be
Mm.
keeping her distance.
Mm. Well,
Right.
JR, your
And you
thoughts
know
on it?
what? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like that's actually a good point, Elsid. And also, they don't have a commitment till death do you part, for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, right?
All right.
So by revealing too much of the side effects or the consequences of the um, autoimmune condition, there's also a fear that she might lose him, especially after opening up about it. It
Mm-hmm.
can't be easy to deal with. But I also think that if it isn't the medical condition, it can also be the medication that affects the libido, affects the hormones, things
Oh,
like that.
oh
Because
wow.
autoimmune conditions typically um, are affecting your endocrine system,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's the function of all your glands.
Mm-hmm.
So some glands overproduce and over secrete fluids, and others underperform. And then the medication is given to kind of balance that out to bring it back to homeostasis. So I think there may be other things that are playing a factor, like I said, through medication or the condition itself, but still um, put him out of his misery because he needs to know what's going on with you rather than you just taking it out on him in these behaviors and mood swings and things.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It makes me think of something. Without going into any personal details, some years ago, I was going through some health challenges. And one of the things my therapist helped me to understand is that once the challenges and the situation was dealt with, and I was um, returning to my old self, it's it it's a challenge though to then in your mind mentally accept that your body is well. So to what you're saying, Elsie, that's a very good point. I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective. um I don't know if we haven't seen her present it to him in that perspective or any nuance of that. So I wonder if, like, the thing about it, when these people come together for the first time in person, on the one hand, it's like their first, second, third date. You don't maybe necessarily want to go deep, but if you've been talking to this person for 6 months, 8 months, 4 years, isn't this the time now while we're face to face to talk about some of these more important, serious topics, or no?
It is way past the time to talk about serious topics, and they've been it's months. Whether you're a far away long distance relationship or not, it leads me to believe, what are we talking about? But I understand Irvin cannot experience all that she needs, but it's like, what are we talking about? I have been, full disclosure, I have been dating someone, and they had a serious on job accident 3 months into our dating.
Oh
They
wow.
hadn't even met my children yet. Okay.
Hmm.
And the first, I was on their emergency contact list. It was
Oh wow. And
da-
3 months
daunting
in.
for me. Right. It was daunting for me. We were exclusive or whatever, but
Okay.
I hadn't met his kids. He hadn't met mine. But I was on it, and it was like, but it's in me. It's like automatic. Like I go. my go switch is to, I need to go, you need my help, and this is what needs to occur.
Right,
And
right.
but again, that is just my personality. We don't know if Irvin has that go switch. But she needs to give him the opportunity to have that go switch and take care of her. And I wonder if in her past she has not been thoroughly disappointed in a mate that she thought would be there through thick and thin.
Mm, I guess that's a very good point. That's a very good point. I think back to even shortly after high school, one of my friends graduated from high school together. A couple 2 years later, she's married to this guy. She finds out she has lupus, and but she wants to have a child, even though her doctor is telling her your body can't take you being pregnant having a child. But she went ahead, they went ahead and she got pregnant, she had the baby came, and I don't think it was a year later she was gone. So yeah, the health
That's rough.
challenges are very serious.
Yeah, some
um
people stay and some people leave, and I wonder if she wants the gentleness of Irvin, but she doesn't want it to leave, but she's holding on.
you mean holding on to him or holding on to
Holding on to him, holding on to him as a person.
hmm like so
And
that
that,
he can be that other person so she's not lonely? Is that what you're I'm not following
right,
exactly what you're saying. I'm sorry.
right. So she's not lonely. She has him there to provide companionship, but she's not opening herself up for him to be her long-standing mate, to really have her back. And
Okay.
of all the things, I don't know what is their personality, but when Irvin drew those wings on her back and she said she cannot stand her back, I thought that would have clicked her in to, he sees, her imperfection, and to him it is not imperfection. But it didn't click for
Mm,
her.
it didn't click. Wow. You know what? You're right. Because I thought in the body painting, which you're going back to a couple weeks ago, in the body painting exercise that they had, I thought that was very beautiful that he, like you said, that he saw her that way, that he saw her strength. I think, didn't he also write with the body paint, didn't he also spell out power on was it her
Yeah, he
arm or
did.
something? He said
Yeah,
power.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he's absolutely dealing with, like you said, he seems to be. And the other thing, to your point, El said, she's got to be vulnerable if she really wants to see if this is going to last, if this is going to be a long-term mate. Now is the time, I feel like, to be vulnerable, because you don't have to, if you don't see him again, this ends in 3 weeks, 2 more weeks or whatever, you can find out now, and you may still decide to be friends. Maybe you're not going to be lovers, but maybe you'll just be friends. One of my best friends to today is someone that I was engaged to be married to over 30 years ago, and he's one of my best friends. And I wouldn't trade our relationship for anything. So he knows me from an intimate perspective. He knows me. He knows my personality. He knows my highs and lows in my life. And he really truly understands me, just like I really truly understand him. And we can have an argument and a disagreement and come back together a couple days later, a week later, and we're gonna be friends for life. That's it. He ain't getting rid of me. No way, no how. Oh, hey there. Hey, stay tuned. I haven't seen you in a minute. Hey. um, Another content creator over here on the YouTube streets. Stay tuned reviews. He does excellent reviews. Stay tuned. Are you still doing cooking also on your channel? But okay, so we'll move forward. As we're coming close to the end. Um, so the guys decide to put some salmon out on the grill, and Ty, he's the head chef, so he's at the head of it. So they're cooking. uh his lady is in the water. um Help me out, Elsie, with the name.
What do you
uh
mean, her name?
Ty, yeah, Ty's lady's name. his mate
Oh
that he's there
gosh,
with.
I
Okay,
just
so it's
I
not
just
just
drew a
me.
blank.
Okay,
No,
is it Brittany? Is this Brittany?
Brittany. Yes, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brittany.
Brittany.
Okay, so Brittany is over in the pool. And Ty is this fella that at 38 he still likes to joke a lot, and I understand because one of my good friends is a very well known comedian. I'm not going to say his name, but a comic. But sometimes people that are in comedy or like to make jokes, sometimes um, they're using it to cover up something else. I don't know what specifically Ty might be, if he's using it up to cover something, what that something is. But Brittany feels like a lot of times he's making jokes that have sexual innuendos. And for her, that's frustrating. Can you understand that, El Cid? Is that something that you understand why she's so frustrated with him?
Yeah, I could see it because it could be seen as like the whole teen young man thing of everything everything is a fart joke or everything is an innuendo joke. I could see the frustration there. She did say she wanted to see if he was serious on the very first date.
Yeah.
So, but she can explain that the hard part is correcting your mate like that in front of everybody. you know, Correcting him
Okay.
in front of everybody. We saw that she can correct him because she
Mhm.
corrected him about how he spoke to Alicia in the kitchen, but it was just the two of them, and Ty took it in and he, agreed with her and they went along. Now she is correcting him in front of everybody, and that may not be well received. And it we'll see how it was received later.
Right. Yeah, we're there now. How do you think he did receive it? How do you think he did receive it?
Oh, he was wilding out. He did not receive it well, and I don't think she received it well. But the thing is, that's not the that's not the root also of the problem. The root of the problem for her is he's not paying her the attention she needs. She would rather he put down the grilling utensils and spend time with her. He
Right,
spent more time
right.
with the grill and in the kitchen than
Hmm.
with her.
I,
But I
I,
see it as a different kind of behavior pattern. But we'll get to there.
I'm wondering. I just thought about something going back to their first date. Right? Remember they were the couple that went parasailing. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
correct. They
JR.
did.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I remember her saying something about she has children and that she was looking for him to be a father figure, and him basically saying that I guess he was okay with this. But I'm wondering now, is maybe, do you feel like JR, is it possible maybe he doesn't want this, just like we know that Jared doesn't want a house full of six children, and he's kind of hiding that from Charlie. So you think maybe this is a similar situation? Maybe he's pulling back now from her, or not pulling back, but not doing the things that she wants, because ultimately he knows he's not going to be willing to be a stepdad.
I don't think I get that from him. I don't
Okay.
think I get that. I think what it is that he tries to be a comedian, but to be a good comedian, you have to have comedic timing. So you
uh,
can't just be joking all the time. And the jokes that you're making are about things that happen in reality that you're still sore or petty about. Because it's not funny, right?
no.
You may think it's funny, but what you're doing is you're putting your partner on blast, right? So I think I don't get the sense that he's having any cold feet about her particular situation, but I
Mhm.
can see why she would think that because they have logistics to think about. If she's got children, and I'm not sure if he has children, but if she's got children already, and
Mhm.
he's going to need to, they're going to need to figure out their relationship so that they can decide whether at some stage you're going to meet those children. And then are they going to, is he going to move to where she is, or is she going to move to where he is, and all that type of stuff. I think that's what she's angling for, that level of seriousness about where their relationship's actually going.
Okay. Yeah.
But he is not there because he's still trying to I think he's got like
Oh
this
no.
whole high school vibe going on where he's trying to be Mr. Funny, Mr. Popular, Mr. Entertainment, and like, okay, when you're with the guys, that's cool. But when she's around, you need to switch it off and focus on your woman. That's where I think he's going wrong.
Okay.
Because ultimately, aside from the parasailing date, and obviously they won the intimacy challenge and got the massage, but we haven't really seen them do any conversations or do anything as a couple, that meaningful couple yet. If you get what
Hmm,
I mean.
that's a good point. Well, you know what? Right. Outside of, I thought their best time so far that I've seen on screen was them when they were making the dinner for everyone. They seem to be moving in sync. Like she pointed out that Ty does love to cook. And apparently she's saying that she does love to eat. And I think she's very disappointed about the fact that over the phone, while they were online, he was promising her that he would cook for her, that he would make the foods that she desired. And now they're in person and they have all this time. And she said that she asked him even to make her breakfast, and he still has yet to do it. So is that a failing from him to just tell her those things, or is it that her expectations are too high?
I think he's pulling kind of like Alicia with Irvin. Is like, I ask you to make me breakfast, yet you're making breakfast and meals for everybody else and not just me. I mean, there are so many things they could see in each other, all these couples. But again, it's also the way in you bring it. It's like, Ty, I appreciate you wanting to feed the masses, but the main person you should be feeding is me.
Is your
Okay?
girl? Yeah, feed your girl first.
Right. Me. And if she don't like salmon, that could be another point against him. Feed her what she would like.
Mm-hmm.
Promises kept, but then again, you have to bring it to your person in a way that they don't feel like they're being chastised, because he's not doing anything wrong per se,
Right.
trying to feed the masses, but he's trying to please the crowd. He's trying to hear the roar of the crowd, and he's
Mm-hmm.
not hearing the whisper of his lady.
His
And that
lady.
is the wrong place to be, because she is who you got to go home to. In whatever world you're in, that's the person you living with. That's the person you may building a life with. Everybody
Right.
else gonna go into their own cubby hole. This is
Right.
the person you're trying to build with.
Right. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's it, and that's all. Um, who started the fight, Jr.? In your opinion, with these two, this couple, when they're out by the pool and he's over there cooking, he's at the grill, and then he's saying to her, she's saying, "Well, it's not the." She's he. First of all, he asked her. He said, "Well, why aren't you swimming? You're just standing in the pool." And then she says, "Well, no, I don't want to get my hair wet. We have plans for later tonight." And someone, in the already someone one of the other daters says, "Well, oh, what oh, plans. Ooh." And she was like, "No, no, no, not those kind of plans, not plans for the boom boom room." And he's like, "When? What? Not ever?" And I think she's kind of like basically saying, "Well, no," but she's kind of teasing him saying, "Well, maybe not ever."
Yeah,
Uh,
but
who
I think
started that fight? Who started the fight between those two?
that to me didn't start the fight. Ty started it, and it was when he was talking about her, and she was right there in earshot.
Yeah, because she said,
That's
I hear you."
exactly that's what started the fight. So it was Ty. Ty was to blame because again, um, this time he wasn't using comedy though. This time he was actually having a conversation, putting her on blast with her in earshot as well. So that's what escalated things.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you're right too, because I think when she said, I can hear you," and she just said those three words, "I can hear you," or was that four? I can't hear you. Four. Those four words, "I can hear you." And then he goes and says, "Well, you're the one that started this sugar honey iced tea." You know the word, right? I felt like for me as a woman, and like I said again, maybe it's my upbringing, but when you start inserting profanity in your conversation with me as a man, you're supposed to be my man. I feel like I'm already got my guard up now because you're cursing, you're saying, the sugar honey iced tea of it all. Like, why do you need to say that way? Is it just me, El said?
No, I just was raised in the thought process of if someone has to use profanity, that means their vocabulary is sorely lacking and they've gone to the bottom of the barrel.
That part too.
And that to me, in your anger, it comes out, how truly mean to be. And the thing is, how you behave in your anger tells me a whole lot about you. And that's why I kept saying in the background every week, it's like, I want to hear when you stop joking and you get mad. I want to see how you are when you are verbally sparring, because that will tell me if it's all jokes or if you
Mm.
really get heated. And now that the mask is slipped, I see Ty, and I knew that lava was just under the surface of this volcano.
You
But
know what? That's an excellent point because we haven't seen it, but now all of a sudden he did get very ramped up during this discussion, and she told him, "I find you being very disrespectful," and he just kept going. He just kept going.
now, how again, she's chastising him in front of everyone. He's like telling the boy, I don't think he meant to be quiet. I don't think he meant to hide the conversation from her. I think he's like, do you hear? Am I crazy? I don't He's like, what am I supposed to do? I don't think he was ready to hear anybody else. I wish he wouldn't have said, I hear you. Clearly, I would just see, we need more people like the first season. Remember Chris's girl?
Those
Remember
wild
Chris's
first season people. You mean the ones that were beating up on the women in the household and almost
No, no,
having
no.
the
Chris's young lady. What was her name?
uh
Chandri. Oh gosh,
oh
Chandri,
the Haitian young
a
lady.
Haitian young lady.
I can't think
She
of her
was
name
in
either, but
the
yeah,
room, quiet as heck, and she heard everything.
she
That's
did,
all I
didn't she?
needed.
Because she
Right,
heard
that's
the
what I
guy.
needed.
She heard her guy when they were in the kitchen talking about
Yes,
her. Yeah.
yes. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what I wanted this with Brittany, because he would have gone on and on and on, and you would have heard what he had to say, and he wouldn't pump the brakes to speak to you. I just let you have it. But
Yeah.
again, Ty is, getting amped up, and it is the wrong language to use to your loved one. If you are fighting, that's what a therapist say. You cannot forget the love you have for the person. You
Correct.
still have to have a fight, and you're in anger, still have the love. So I'm not going to curse out my person. Not happening. That's just
Right.
me.
And that,
I'm not
yeah, and
going to
that
curse you
that
out.
that's what got my first heckle up was when he said, "Well, you the one that started the shit." Let me just say,
Right.
he
I may
said that, and
curse.
I'm like, "Well, wait a minute, what sugar honey iced tea? What are you
Right.
talking about?" And then he kind of kept going with it. Because do you remember when he said to her, he said, "No, you don't want to do this. You don't want to have this fight," and it was like so. I hate to say it. I know JR's gonna not like this, but it was so sassy on his part.
I don't use the word sassy, but I understand the connotation in which you're doing it. This was just, raw, unfiltered Ty. It was disrespectful profanity at her. And I'm not saying you can't curse in front of his lady, but it was directed at her.
Yep,
I just think that he okay, she is not translating what she needs. She's has these expectations he's supposed to know by osmosis, and he's not expressing the fact that he is frustrated as to he's trying to juggle pleasing too many people, and he doesn't understand he's not pleasing his lady, because his
mm-mm.
thing is, I'm trying to get the food, do this. Ty doesn't know how to delegate. Ty, you
That's
did
what
not have to go in. You
I
didn't have
said.
to go in.
Hmm.
Right.
I said the same thing. I said the exact
Yeah.
same thing because when he asked
Clay
her
is
to,
sitting there just eating. Send
yeah,
Clay.
when he asked her, well, I just can't do enough. I'm over here. I'm cooking. I'm making drinks. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, well, you're doing too much. That is, if doing too much was a person, it would be you, Ty. It would be you. Like, delegate some of that stuff. I don't think by a long shot, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I don't think he's the only person in the house that can cook just because he likes to cook. I doubt that he's the only person in that house that can cook. You understand what I'm saying? So why not delegate some of that? Like you said, that's the problem. He doesn't have his priorities in order. He doesn't
He
seem
feels
to
he
have
got
his.
to do everything. That's another problem. It's like there are able-bodied adults there, and I think because he is one of the eldest people in the house, I'm not trying to be mean at all to him. He probably is looking like I got to take care of everybody because they're younger than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Everybody
like
else can
He,
cook.
so
Papa
what he's
Bear.
trying to do, he's trying to assume the Papa Bear role, but um, he doesn't delegate because it's also part of people pleasing, serving everyone and trying to get everyone's approval for preparing the meal or whatever, or controlling the grill.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like we've said, the comedy, trying to humor everyone. It's all people pleasing.
Yeah.
And Brittany's tired of it. So I agree. Brittany needs to, instead of just doing it in the confessional, she needs to say to him, you know, I think we need to have a conversation about the seriousness of where we're going. And he needs to stop trying to put her on blast, whether it's talking to other people with her in earshot or
Mm-hmm.
making jokes about situations that they've had where he's still sore about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think the thing that started it, triggered it, is that he definitely started the fight because he's talking about his lady with his lady in close proximity. And the thing of it is, if you just really want to get another person's viewpoint on it, you do that discreetly. You do that when you're out picking up some more food for the house with, just the one person in the car or whatever. You do that discreetly. And if you were going to say anything about her, then how about you just go over there and have a conversation with her?
But then I think you're talking behind my back about me.
What no what you're saying, if he went out with a fellow to the store,
Yeah,
grocery store, and he had a
yeah,
conversation about her,
yeah.
um you know what, she might, if that's assuming that it got back to her. I would like to think that um whichever man, he would have discernment to pick a man who isn't doesn't run off at the mouth, and it would just be between them two. Because, and then here's the other thing, we both, you and I know, I believe we do, as women, that we do it all the time. We will talk to our girlfriend about our guy, and typically it doesn't get back to him. So what's the difference?
You see, I like the horse's mouth. I like, directly from the horse's mouth. If we, that thing with Ty talking to the fella in front of me, I'd rather hear it so that
Mhm.
he isn't able to do maybe an editing of what exactly he said.
Oh,
I
right,
just
like,
kept quiet.
right.
I'm
I,
just
I
listening.
agree. I agree with you. I agree. She could have kept quiet and learned a whole lot more. But at this point, it's beginning to feel like, El City, you tell me what you think. It's beginning to feel like she has felt and understood enough about him, and she's really hanging on by a thread with this guy. Like all this, the joking, and like JR pointed out, he wants to be a comic, but his timing is off. He's always making jokes. He's always, trying to be funny. He's always trying to people please. And she's not getting what she needs out of it, clearly. And then I'm also wondering one other thing. Has either of you thought about that it could be that sometimes men get like, the word hangry, when you're hungry for food. I think sometimes some men get hangry for intimacy and sexual relations, and when they don't get it, they literally are hangry. Could that be a thing too? JR?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Go ahead. Ask that question again, please.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that it, it's been, a girlfriend and I have been talking about this, how some men can get hangry. I'm using the word hangry because I don't know what you would call it for uh hot and heavy time. But in other words, men get hangry, or they get emotional. They start acting out of character, or really maybe showing you their true character, because basically he wants to hurry up and have intimacy with her.
Yeah. No, that's true. Um, that's true.
You had a
If
few. couples that already have went to the boom boom room, right?
Yeah, but they ain't done nothing. But I get your point. There are some couples that are advanced enough to trust their feelings and be intimate with each other in that way, like whether it's a massage or just spending the night together or whatever. And there's some couples that aren't there yet. And yes, you're correct. There is a certain level of frustration when you have maybe like Ty and Brittany, where he's made advances to her. Remember, they've had an online relationship. There's been no physical contact, no intimacy, no touch, no bedtime activities at all. So now that you're in person, there is going to be a heightened level of frustration when there's a rejection because you've been waiting all this time to meet this person, and if they're not feeling you and they shut it down, the intimacy side of things down, yeah, that's definitely going to be a trigger for some emotional outburst.
If we're talking about that, I would put that on her because it seems she's a little testy that he's not paying attention and giving her the attention that she needs. That maybe she's a little backed up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also, no,
Okay.
you're right. You're right about that because when you're online dating, that's all you're able to give. That's the most valuable thing you can give, time and attention.
Okay. Right.
There's nothing else. There is no physical component.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been dating online 6 months, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be, you're giving that person your attention every time you could have been doing something else, but you're doing FaceTime with them or watching a movie with them or falling asleep with each other over the phone, whatever it is you're doing. Like, but there's no physical component. And that's obviously the trade-off. But as I said, like if you've been waiting all this time to meet this person, you've built up the conversation, you built a relationship, you've been kind of counting down the days when you're going to come face to face and spend time together. And then all of a sudden you get around each other and, 2, 3 days in and she shut you down, rejected you and all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone like Ty is going to erupt and explode. And it's going to come out in his humor. It's going to come out in his pettiness. It's going to come out in the way he converses with her. But she's just not on the same frequency, the same bandwidth as where he is intimacy wise. And unfortunately, she holds the keys to intimacy. So Ty needs to learn to soften his approach and try and figure out what is going to bring down that guard,
Mm-hmm.
so that because the thing is, contrary to what most people think, intimacy and bedtime activity is not just something that men want. Women want it too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's
you
what
have
I've
to.
heard anyway. I don't really know, but that's what I've
Yeah,
heard.
I've heard such things as well. But
Uh-huh.
you have to meet in the middle, right? Like both
Yes.
of you have to be in the mood. So
Yeah.
can't be that caveman Ty wants it and she has to give it up. That's not the situation.
Well, one
She
last.
has.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to ask you one last question. I'm
Mm.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but do you agree with this woman, Brittany, that he was being disrespectful to her with that whole scene? Like,
Yeah, he was. Because again, like if you've got an issue, don't talk about it to someone else with the person in earshot. Very disrespectful. And he raised his voice, and like you said, he used verbiage that was he was swearing. So it is disrespectful. It's in a public setting as well. Very disrespectful.
okay, okay. What about you, Elsie? What are your thoughts about it? Was he being disrespectful and
I think
how?
his profanity, yep, I think his profanity directed at her was disrespectful. I think, he got loud. It was disrespectful. I don't think it was disrespectful that he's showing frustration. I think again, he needed to learn how to communicate. He's doing too many things at once. And if y'all are trying to build in a relationship, she could, just like she guided him in the kitchen, and maybe she's just tired of guiding him. But she could say, "Hun, why don't you let Clay go and get the food in the refrigerator for you, and you can, get me a drink." Just say that. I don't like when people just fight and don't offer a solution. Like, we have a problem, I can certainly offer a solution, but yeah, very disrespectful, cursing at her
Mm-hmm.
and getting all loud and fussy with it. It's like, when you get loud, nobody hears what you're trying to say, they just hear your volume.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so just to wrap things up, because I was asking the question, and I see you responded. Thank you. Are online relationships all fantasy? And El Cid, you responded. How briefly, if you could tell us, if it's not too much to ask, briefly, how were you able to filter out the fantasy people and the people that are just playing games to find and to meet up with Mr. El Cid?
Well, the thing is, here's where you're kind of missing the mark with me. I was out there playing games.
Oh,
I
oh,
was,
player,
hey,
player.
I
Okay,
was playing
all
games.
right, all
And
right,
Mr.
Miss
Elson
Miss
was
El
not
Cid.
right. He was not. He was like, this is not. I am not.
A play
Part
toy.
of. Right. I'm not playing a game. This is for real, and you gonna sit down. And it's like, I did not wish to get married a second time, but hey, a relationship comes to you. It's a very good person. I'm like, okay, let's give this a try. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where we are. This year will be 8 years married.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay. Now, how
and
long did you guys date before you got married? Decided to get married?
um, we dated a year and a half, but he'd asked before that, and I was like, oh God, no. Um, I didn't want to get married for a second time, but it was the same way. I didn't want to get married the first time. I got married, and even then, I online dated. If anybody remember AOL chat rooms back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, for me, is that I'm just myself, and I will hear the foolishness. Like, I wouldn't talk to anyone that doesn't have a shirt on in a photo. There are a lot of toads, but I have been fortunate in my quest, or in my perusal of what's out there. I've been fortunate. Yeah, 60% of them was foolishness, and there
Yeah.
was a good solid 40%. But you got to be able to quickly let them go and keep on pushing. My thing is, I'm very dismissive, and if you ain't for me, I don't get clingy. I don't understand the whole we talking for 2 months and you're it for me. I don't get clingy. So maybe that is the personality trait for me that was able to navigate this. So yes, Mr. L said was, no, we ain't doing this. And I was like, okay, we shall try this, and this is where we are. But again, I was able to listen and still, see, what he was all about. He did propose, but for me it felt a little too quick for me. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
when a man, we know, we keep saying a woman knows, when a woman knows, it goes for the men too.
Yeah.
When
It
they
really
know that it
does.
is someone,
It
they
really
know,
does.
and they will, try to push the relationship in the direction they want it to go.
Yeah, he saw that he had a good thing on his hands. He saw he had a good woman, and you had all the things that he was looking for, and apparently he had all of the things that you were looking for. So, congratulations. I'm with Miss Wilson. Congratulations on that. So not all online relationships are fantasy, all fantasy. But what would you say the percentage? You say maybe something like 60-40 out there?
There's a lot of toads in the swamp. I gotta tell you, there are a lot of toads in the swamp. You
Lots
just
of
gotta
toes.
you just gotta clear them away, flick them off the lily pad, and keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing. Yeah. Well, I am happy. Like Miss Wilson said, I am very happy that you two found one another and have so much in common. And it seems like you both kind of balance each other out, maybe.
Oh yeah, because I'm the fiery one.
Ooh. All right now. All right now. I and that's interesting that you're the fiery one. That is very interesting. Um, I think that's a beautiful thing that you two found each other. Would you add anything, Jr., to the online dating situation?
Um, I think it can work, but it's hard work. Um, because there are different layers to it. You've got a online relationship where you get to know each other, you get comfortable, you get familiar, you spend time together, you get into a routine, you get into a habit, you are vulnerable with each other. And then obviously comes the physical component where you have to meet and see if the chemistry is there, the compatibility is there, the attraction is there, the nuances, the facial expressions, the touch, the smells, the sights, all of that stuff. And they're two completely different relationships. Just because you get on online doesn't mean you're going to get on physically, or vice versa. Just because you're attracted to each other when you meet doesn't mean that when you go away from each other and you're online that you're necessarily going to work out. So the difficulty is finding a balance or finding a middle ground where both um, both types of relationship flow or connect without any major hiccups, so that you have a holistic experience. Because if one or both of you tended to like the online part, then what's the point in meeting physically? You can just have your relationship online and it's cool. And vice versa. If you like the physical part of your relationship where you've met up, you've gone on dates, you've done some trips, things like that. But
Right.
online, your relationship is turbulent, and because you just go back to being a handset again, so the person can hang up or you can talk to each other any kind of way, then you spend more time together physically then, and that way you're able to enjoy the relationship
Hmm.
and obviously spend quality time together. So it can work. It just takes the right person and a lot of work to make it work. And if both of you, and a lot of attraction as well, because if you're liking each other from a distance, that's
Hmm.
one thing. But then it has to be able to progress further so that you can enjoy the relationship in physical. Yeah.
Mm. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I've dated online. Like El said, I go way back with the online, like the dinosaur days of dating. I don't know if anybody remembers. What was that called? Was it Prodigy? Does anybody remember the Prodigy online service? They had something, anyway, they had something, I think it was, I want to say it was like called 2000, because that's how long ago it was. And you could meet somebody from across the country, across the world, halfway across the world. And I actually made friends, and still to this day still friends, with a couple of guys that I met on there. And it didn't work out romantically for us, but that sometimes, as long as the person is not obnoxious, not a filthy liar, and doesn't do anything crazy, you can still have, okay, I guess we lost JR. You can still have a friendship, if that's if you're open to something like that. Okay. Oh, okay. Life is reality says he had to slip out. Definitely will catch up with him. El Cid, you have anything you want to add? What are we looking for next week? What do you think is going to who's gonna blow off next?
I think we need, definitely the therapist for Ty and Brittany for next week. Definitely. I'm getting tired of holding the decorations for the baby shower for Clay. I need him to come out and tell Tatiana so we could we could
So we can have the
let
baby
the
shower.
right, let the baby shower, festivities go on. We stuck Charlie and Jared in there, but I find it very interesting. We saw very little of Chris and Alexis, and we saw the little I saw of Cinco and Jay. I did like because Cinco was like, we stay out of everybody's business. But here's the thing: you technically don't stay out of everybody's business, Cinco. Cinco Cinco collects everybody's business and
He's
goes
the bone
talk to Jay
collector.
about it.
Is he the
Huh?
bone collect? He's the bone collector, huh?
Yes, he is a bone collector. And he goes back to his lady and they get a good kiki while they cuddling and they
Hmm.
stay out of people's frustrating business, even in person. They look, they listen, and they don't judge, but they judge behind the scenes.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, like you said, I think that's some pillow talk right there. If me and my man can sit up and talk about, the tomfoolery that everybody else is getting into, that's some pillow talk. And honestly, it's not going to work for everybody, but I think in some cases, your expression of the pillow talk and what you're saying about what's going on, like your commentary, your viewpoint, can maybe help your man or your woman to understand you better, if that makes sense, right? Because
Yeah,
while
but
you're
we ain't talking about our relationship. If we're
no, no,
talking about other people.
no, but understand what I'm saying. So, like for example, oh gosh, help me out. Tatiana, when she was talking
Uh-huh.
to Clay and she was using the example, she was talking about how she doesn't like to be lied to and so forth and so on. And JR very cleverly pointed out that you pointed out that she may have overheard more than she was letting on, right? But the point maybe that's not a good example. The point I'm trying to get at is, if I'm talking about another couple and I say, well, he cursed at her when he was talking to her, and I just found that really offensive, and I don't think he should have done that. That would have hurt my feelings. Now my guy, who maybe he grew up, because a lot of people, unfortunately, in our community, and I say unfortunately, yes, grew up with a lot of cursing going on in their household, in their talk with their guys or their gals. And so a lot of these words come out very easily for them, like the N word, the B word, the F word, all of these different words. And for somebody that's not accustomed to it or doesn't like to be talked at with that type of language, it's offensive. So I'm saying, so by her talking to him about it, he could maybe kind of self correct and say, well, oh, I usually say this to my girls, but I'm not going to say that to her because she pointed that out, that she doesn't like to be cursed at. Does that make any sense?
That does make sense, and that does make sense to me. I used to use a lot of profanity in my 20s. I was, collecting my nautical miles, I should say. I used to curse like a sailor. And the thing is that um it's the same thing. I was, told before that, can't you find another way to express yourself that may not be jarring, because you don't know who your
Yeah.
audience is or who's listening to you, and that is a sign of a very limited vocabulary. And I was totally put off by the dressing down I received, and I realized I got a dressing down without a pinch of profanity. So
Right.
it is part of, you know growing up and growing away. And just for me, I'm not saying I don't. Well, I try not to curse at all.
Hmm.
And kids would do that to you too, because you do not want them going up in the schoolyard saying what
Hmm.
they've heard at home.
At home, right.
But cursing at your mate is something that I abhor completely, because this is your person. They
Right.
should receive the best of you,
Right.
behind closed doors and in front of it. And this is not the best of Ty. And I know
Mm-mm.
Ty. I don't know if maybe Ty's turned off by her. She's been rejecting
Mm.
him.
Okay. And
He has
JR
been,
did
yeah.
point that out as well, that he believes that Ty feels rejected. I hadn't looked at it that he would feel rejected, but that is a good point. These people, we need the experts in here. It's just like at Married at First Sight. Where are the experts?
Yes.
Where
Somebody
are the
asked in the chat,
experts?
where are the
They
experts?
did. They did. Who was that said that? But absolutely, I'm looking for it. I don't see it. But yeah, where are the experts? We need them. We need them. We definitely need them. But I don't know. I think I like it so far that not only do they not discuss their business in front of the other couples, or even like her Jay, she doesn't, at least I haven't seen her unless they edited it out. We haven't seen her with the gals just saying, you know what, I hate when he does XYZ. Sometimes you have to learn that some of the things that we're doing as a single woman, are counterproductive. One thing that I learned from my daughter is that she just recently got married. And one of the things that she did in this relationship is she was very protective of the relationship. Some of the girlfriends that she used to have, as my son called them, some frenemies of hers, she got rid of them because she didn't want that kind of toxic environment of her girlfriend saying, well, oh, girl, he did XYZ, or he said this, or he looked at you the wrong way, or, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they're always, you got some girlfriends that are always telling you, dump him, dump him, dump him. And I'm not talking about if there's any abuse or anything like that. Of course, you should move on, dump the guy. But I'm talking about just the littlest of things. You have some girlfriends, and just like some guys, they have guy friends that are always encouraging them to cheat, to be a dog to women. You know what I'm saying, Elsie?
Yeah, my thing with that with friends too, I need to hear the context in which you are sharing with your friends. Because there are
Okay.
people who just share the negative side. So all your friends keep hearing is a negative part of your relationship or when you have a problem. And they getting tired of carrying advice to you because you're constantly having problems, or all you bring in is problems and not nice things, to the table. So here they are carrying all your problems.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't know that you made up with your person. They don't know that
Hmm.
y'all are on good standing right now. They still carrying the problem that you had. So they haven't made up with your partner in their
Hmm.
mind. So they think the best advice is for you to leave, but they don't know that you've reconciled, you've worked through it and everything. And sometimes people don't come back and share, hey, we've worked through it, we're better. I'm glad you're a sounding board. And sometimes you need to just tell your friend, I just need to vent this. This is not for you to comment. This is not for you to give me any advice. I just need to say it out loud to get for me to process it. And sometimes that works better than offloading on your friends.
That is so true. I agree with you. You got a great point that I will also keep in mind. I don't know if you feel the same way or will agree with me. However, I feel like part of the reason why in our community there's a lack of marriage or low numbers in the marriage portion of our community, though, is because um, there are so many women. I wish JR was on it because he could we could talk about this even too. There are so many women that literally, no matter what you tell them about your guy, even if you don't tell them anything, they may come to you and say 6 months later, "Are you still dating so and so? I remember you told me you were dating him. You've not said anything bad about him." And they're doing things to encourage you to break up or to act
Yes.
out. To
Yes. Yes.
act out, go out
Those
with
are the
another
snakes in
guy.
your garden. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And the same thing with men, because I know the guy that I was just talking about that became my best friend and we were engaged to be married. One of the things early on in our relationship we almost broke up about was he had a group of male friends that he had grown up with like since the age of 5 or 6. It was like 3 or 4 of them. They were all close in age and they were very close. They were like brothers basically, and he's the only child like me, so they were basically
Uh huh.
literally his brothers. But they would encourage him while we were together, and they knew that we were together because I had met them. They would encourage him to do uh, things that were disloyal and a betrayal to our relationship. And it took me a while to catch on. And one of my girlfriends actually pointed it out. And when I confronted him about it, it stopped. But had it not stopped, I would have walked away because I was like, oh, you playing games. You playing games, sir. And I think it was definitely the encouragement of these male friends of his who had been married and divorced, and they were in their player stage, if that makes any sense.
Yes, and that's why they don't want to change the status quo. So you have to look at your friends, the stages they are in life, and whether they are going to be cool with you. Now, I started off with my group of friends. We were all, mothers, participating in the child's school, being involved parent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and slowly life happens, and a few of us get divorced, and then I
Mm-hmm.
ended up one of the few that remarried, and the dynamic changed. You have to watch that too with your friends. For those who are going through a
Yes.
divorce, marriage is not it for them. They are not happy for you. They're not happy for man, but that is them. You have to be mindful of that. So your friends go through the stages with you, and some of them need to be left behind at a certain stage, but
Mm-hmm.
or kept at a distance. I have friends that are exhibiting behavior that I don't like, and I got to be like, hey, this ain't it for me. But if you ever need me, I'm here, but I can't join you on this journey.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Everybody is not for every stage of your life. You got some friends that will be your friends for a lifetime, and then some for only a season and a short time. So you're absolutely right. And if you are involved in a romantic relationship and it is fitting all of your needs, I think that you have to make the decision to prioritize. Which one is it going to be? You're going to prioritize your romantic relationship, or are you going to prioritize what your friends are saying? And so that's why I say I think that there in our community there are a number of people that will be anti-relationship, no matter who the guy is, no matter who the woman is. They just encouraging you to do crazy things. Oh, Mimi says she has a very good point. My circle is so small, I keep bumping it. I keep bumping into my Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Well, see, yeah, because sometimes that's it. That's going to be your partner romantically, physically, sexually, and your best friend. That really works out well, I think, when your partner is your best friend. You know, that's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I
Yeah, it,
think.
it
Hmm.
it does work out that way. My thing is that they are in all of this. These people have been dating for months. What are we talking about? How are we behaving? Because you will know if somebody is angry or how they've handled anger. And it seems like Ty has been putting on a performance all this time if she has not seen him angry. It is very jarring to me that she's not telling him. That's my thing. If he's not paying enough attention, I
What?
need you to tell him.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you saying the part about him cooking for her? Because I think she had said over and over again that she, to the ladies, that she has asked him, not told him, but I guess, tried to be use that honey. Okay, so that not the vinegar. She's like, hey, I like for you. You want to cook me breakfast this morning? I'll wash the dishes. I'm just saying this is what I would say. Like,
Right. No, no, no. It's
you
not the
you
cooking. She
you do
kept
the
saying
cooking.
he's not paying attention to her, even at the
Oh,
golf
okay.
outing. And we just had a row earlier. Why would he want to be up under you? He's giving you space as well. We just had a row at the pool.
Yeah. Oh, and somebody. Oh, let me go back. How do I say your name? Ayo,
AL?
Ayo nod says no. I don't like the cursing at all, and especially by my guy. But Tatiana was a hot mess this episode. She went off on him in public at the golf course, the golf place. I think she was using profanity also. So she brings up an interesting point. She brings up an interesting point because she did go off at him at the top golf place.
Yes, she did. Yes,
She
she did.
did.
But this is after, we still hot about what happened at the pool. You see, Tatiana ain't that hot, because if I was that hot, I ain't even eating the food that you cooked. I'm gonna go inside and fix me a sandwich, because I ain't even eaten the fact that you just carried on and you poured your anger into this meal. I ain't even eating it. It will give me indigestion.
You
She
know
ain't
what?
really mad.
Yeah, well, you know what? Now, this is another thing. Now, you and I know production and editing. What order did this truly happen in? Right? What order did
Well,
all
it
this
had to
truly
be
happen
daytime because the golfing was nighttime. Are you
in?
trying to say that they golfed the night before? But she said we're doing something later on tonight. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I think it happened in the order it was presented because of the cues that she said.
But could she have said when she said that she did? You're right. She said we had something planned. Could the something planned been the top golf? They were going to
That's
do
what
that
I'm thinking. It would have been the top golf.
right, but
Unless they spliced it and the plan was
hmm
the massage. Maybe we spliced that far apart.
right. But I'm just saying, it seems to me as if the top golf might have came next. I don't know. I'm guessing. Hey, Kirby.
Yeah, we still hot from what happened at the pool. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. That's a good point about eating food of someone and that's angry. But I don't think while he was cooking, he actually was very relaxed. Remember at the beginning, he had the guys around him, and he was actually very relaxed. He was joking, calling Jared Jamie Foxx, saying that he was always running and athletic and had his
or
movie
or
star
or you
glasses
or you
on.
put on yeah, or you put on the honey and say, honey, since you're so busy, you mind if Clay makes me a drink or somebody else? I'm sure
Hmm.
he would buck up. Either he don't care or he would.
Hmm.
Mm. But I
I
have
don't know. I don't know, but we're
I
gonna
don't
have
know.
to shimmy and shake out of here two
Yep,
hours plus later. And I know you got things to do. And thank you so much, El Cid, for being here. I know you've taken away time from your Sunday afternoon with your family, your husband, and your children. So tell Mr. Sid that we said hi. Hey.
girl, he already texted me while I'm up here, so yeah, he probably listening downstairs.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. And you guys that are in the chat, we want to thank you for being here. Those of you that stopped by, make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. We got more good content coming uh, every week. And again, I just want to thank you guys for being here. It means so much to me. I took this break from YouTube. My daughter got married, and there's a lot of things going on in my life, but I'm back, and I'm so glad that you guys are back with me. You want to add anything, Elsit?
Yes, my channel is LCid932. I'm glad to see some of the folks that come to my lives and watch my videos are certainly here in the chat. Munira from earlier, and I just saw Debbie saying hello. We
Mm.
always have a good old funky time on the live. LCid932. I cover Love is Blind, especially the international versions. I also started a new segment called Unsolicited Advice. That's where I
Mm.
find people online have asked the internet for advice, and I give my unsolicited advice, and the chat gives theirs too. So I've done like 6 episodes already, and I think that's going to be like weekly, probably
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, Thursdays. I'm going to go live with that. And
Okay.
they have certainly, my chat today, I did a Love is Blind, and they told me I need to be on Somebody's Son. So I'm going to plan a live about Somebody's Son, the first 3 episodes, probably Wednesday, and see how
Mm.
that works.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say if you could do it Tuesday, I really would have even better availability because I'd like to hop on with that with you with that too. But you do it how you do it, that's fine. But I think that show is very interesting. You guys out there, are you watching Somebody's Son? You got any of you guys watching that? You seen this new? It's a new series. Oh, hey
I know the
Debbie.
folks from mine, they're watching it. I know the folks on my channel are watching it. They push me in that direction, so they better be
Okay.
ready. But we'll talk offline
Yes.
about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, we will. And again, click that like button. Give you more viewing and more. Give us more access. The more you like the video, comment on the video, and share the video. So I appreciate if you guys would be able to do that for us. And we'll see you again next Sunday with more on the Never Ever Mets. Okay, so we're getting ready to shimmy and shake on out of here, right, Elsie?
See y'all later. Good night.
Good night.